The argument starts and something in you goes quiet. Not calm quiet. Blank quiet. The words you had a second ago are simply gone. The other person is waiting for you to say something, anything, and you are standing there with a face that looks like nothing is happening. Inside, it is not nothing. Inside, an alarm is screaming. But outside, you have gone still flat, unreachable, and you hate that you do this. Later, you will think of everything you wanted to say. Right now, in the heat of it, there is only static and the urge to disappear. If you shut down during conflict and cannot explain why I want to tell you something, you are not being cold and you are not broken. The people you argue with have a story about it. They think you do not care. They think you are stonewalling them on purpose. They see a wall and assume you built it to hurt them. What they cannot see is that the wall built itself faster than you could stop it. Because what looks like shutting down is not a choice you are making. It is your nervous system making a very old decision for you. When your brain reads a moment as threatening, it does not wait for permission. It reaches for a survival response fast and automatic. Most people know fight or flight, but there is a third response quieter and just as real. Freeze. And a fourth, the fawn, the urge to appease. Freeze is what happens when part of you senses that fighting is not safe and fleeing is not possible. So the system does the only thing left. It stops. This is the reversal. Your silence in conflict is not indifference. It is often the most activated. Your body gets disguised as the calmest. Under that blank face, your heart is likely pounding. Your thoughts are scattering and a flood of stress is pulling you offline. Psychologists sometimes call it flooding. When emotional arousal spikes past a certain point, the thinking-talking part of your brain goes quiet. You are not refusing to communicate. In that moment, you have partly lost access to the very machinery that communicating requires. Asking a flooded person to just talk it out is like asking someone to read fine print in a room that keeps flashing red. So where does this come from? For many people, it was learned early in a place where conflict felt genuinely dangerous. If you grew up somewhere that raised voices meant real threat, or where speaking up made things worse, freezing was smart. It kept you safe. A child who could not win the fight and could not leave the house learns to go still and wait for the storm to pass. That was not weakness. That was a small person finding the one strategy available to them, and it worked, which is exactly why it stuck. The trouble is that the strategy does not know the war is over. It still fires now in a kitchen argument with someone who loves you. So here comes the shadow side, and it deserves honesty because shutting down has a real cost in the relationships you most want to keep. When you go silent, the other person often feels abandoned in the middle of something that matters. Your protection can read as their rejection, and the pattern can spiral. They escalate to reach you. Your system reads the escalation as more danger. You shut down harder. Everyone loses. There is another cost quieter and yours alone. Every time you freeze, instead of speaking, the thing you needed to say stays unsaid. The resentment does not disappear. It goes underground. It builds. And one day it leaks out sideways in coldness. Or distance you did not plan. Shutting down can also become a way to avoid every hard conversation until the relationship is full of rooms you have both stopped entering. So let me draw the distinction that matters, because not all quiet in conflict is the same, and this difference is everything. There is a shutdown that protects you, and there is a pause that helps you. They can look similar from outside, but they are opposites inside. A shutdown is involuntary. It happens to you. You vanish, the conversation dies, and nothing gets resolved because no one is really there. A pause is chosen. You notice you are flooding, and you say so. I need a few minutes. I am not leaving. I want to finish this. That one sentence changes the whole thing. It turns a disappearing act into a request. It tells the other person you are still on their side. Because that is the fear underneath their frustration. Not that you need a minute, but that you have left them alone with the problem. So the goal is not to force yourself to keep talking while flooded. That rarely works and often makes the shutdown worse, not better. The goal is to build a bridge across the freeze. A few words agreed on ahead of time that let you step back without vanishing. You learn to catch the early signs, the tight chest, the narrowing vision, the static rising. That is your cue before the words disappear. In that small window, you say the sentence, I care about this and I am getting overwhelmed. Give me 10 minutes and I will come back. Then you actually come back. That last part matters most. A break that ends the conversation is avoidance. A break that returns is regulation. And while you are stepped back, you do the quiet work of coming down. Slow breath. Feet on the floor, reminding your body that this room is safe. Because